Okay, we're looking at graphing square roots with transformations. So to do that, you need to remember your parent function, and then you need to know your transformation rules. The square root parent function, whenever you have a square root sign like that, the parent function, it looks like this. It starts at 0, 0, that's the end point, goes up 1 over 1 to the next point, goes up 1 to the right 3, and then you would go up 1 and to the right 5, but those 3 dots are enough to get a good graph. So that is the parent function. Make sure you have that in your notes because you're going to use it every time you graph a square root function. Okay, so that's the basic square root function, and then we're going to change it based on the rules. So this minus 4 is on the inside of the square root, so that's going to tell us to move it to the right. So we're moving it to the right 4. This 3 is multiplying the square root, so this is going to stretch it. So this is going to stretch it up by 3. It's always, well, when it's outside, it's always in the y direction. So I'm going to shift to the right 4, put a dot. That's the new endpoint. So that's this first point. Then it's going to go up 3. So 1, 2, 3 up and over 1. I know it's over 1 because of this distance here. So why is it up 3? It's up 3 because of the stretch. So the parent function goes up 1 and right 1. So the stretch multiplies the y direction by 3. So now I'm going up 3, and it does not change the x direction, so it's still over 1. Then the next step would go up, so I'm looking at the parent function, up 1 and then right 3. So the stretch is multiplying that up 1 by 3, so I'm going to go up 3. 1, 2, 3, and over 3. The over is going to be the same as what it was in the parent function. The up will get stretched or multiplied by whatever the multiplier is. So there, the blue graph is the answer to number 1. Okay. The next thing is the domain and range. So domain is all the x values, and the range is all the y values. So the x starts at 4 and then goes to infinity. So you can say that a couple different ways. You can say the domain goes from 4 to infinity, or you can say x is bigger than or equal to 4. These are two different ways to say the same thing. You don't need them both. You get to pick which way makes most sense to you and use it. Okay, then the range is the y value. So the range starts at 0 and goes up to infinity. So I'm going to write from 0 to infinity. Or I could say y is bigger than or equal to 0. So there's the two different ways to say the domain. There's the two different ways to say the range. So pick which way you like. I'm going to go look at number 6 here. It's the same basic function, right? It's still a square root. So I'm still looking at the parent function that I was looking at earlier. Right? And you don't have to graph this every time, but this is your parent function that you need to refer to every time. So what do the rules tell us to do? The plus 2 on the inside here says shift to the left 2, and the minus 4 on the outside. You could put this minus 4 on the end. That's where you usually see it. Okay, that's where number 5 is showing up. This plus 1 here is just like that minus 4 in number 6. So you can put it on the end. Doesn't matter. It does the same thing. But it will shift it down 4. Okay, then this 2 in the front, that's multiplying the square root, so that's another stretch. So it's going to stretch out the y by a factor of 2. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph this thing. It's going to move down 4 and left 2. So left 2, down 4. There's my new endpoint. And then each of these next dots are going to go up by a multiple of 2. The stretch is 2, right? So it normally goes up 1 over 1. Now I'm going up 2 over 1. Okay, then it goes up 1 over 3. So now I'm going up 2 and over 3. 1, 2, All right, and there we go. There's my new graph. And the domain range, well, x goes from -2 to infinity, and y goes from -4 to infinity. So you can say that either way. You can say domain goes from -2 to infinity, and the range goes from -4 to infinity. Okay, that would be one way to answer it. The other way, you could say x is bigger than or equal to -2, and y is bigger than or equal to -4. Both say the same thing. Okay, so if you have questions, make sure you ask, but make sure you get these rules memorized and know your parent functions.